Hi, Dick Rogers, Common Good Party, about regions, regional government. I believe that the regions of England need an elected, accountable regional government to help develop the economy and life and business of their area in a more coordinated way than the small local government areas that we have at the moment can do. Most areas of local government in England are too small to think on the big picture, on the wider scale, strategically. I mean, for instance, I live in Birmingham, and down the road there's Bromsgrove, which I think is a really nice place to live. I'm sure it's good council, but it's too small to think strategically about how to develop the whole area. And similarly, Oldbury is I'm sure doing a good job, but it needs to be able to stand back and see the big picture of what roads, airports, and other facilities are needed to help the economy thrive. A big problem, I think, is that central government in Britain doesn't trust local government. I remember, I may have got this wrong, but I remember Liverpool government declaring sort of UDI, declaring independence against Mrs. Thatcher and her sort of resolving to get local government into order. And it seems to me that there's been a tension and a lack of trust between central government and local government, which has hamstrung development of the regions of England. There are associations of local authorities, such as the Association of Local Authorities in the West Midlands, but these are not real political entities, as far as I understand. They provide they pool human resources, expertise, and an office in Brussels and things like that. But they're not a talking shop to develop how the West Midlands is really going to develop and thrive. Developing infrastructure and that sort of thing. There doesn't really seem to be a proper forum at which such things can be developed, and so I think mistakes are made for lack of it. I mean, there have been, the government is just winding them up, regional development agencies like Advantage West Midlands, but I find that these are obscure and difficult to really understand what they're up to. I'm sure they produce all the right sort of reports and everything, but people generally aren't aware of it, and it doesn't seem to come out in public debate as to how we should develop our wider area. I mean, Birmingham, where I live, is a big place, but it needs a bigger area than that. I think on the scale of, say, the European constituency of the West Midlands, going up to Stoke, across to Rugby, down to Hereford. And in the northwest is sort of covering Liverpool, Manchester and Preston and such areas. I think it's that kind of size of economic area that needs to be able to think for itself in an accountable way. Germany does it. Germany's history is different, but it has each Land, land, and the plural is Länder, and the German Länder, I've forgotten how many there are, but I mean the sort of North Rhine-Westphalia or Baden-Württemberg and Southwest, Bavaria and so on. And so they can argue things out and have a proper political discussion about how to develop each area. And and most of the EU does it. I'm pretty sure Italy does it, France does it, and I think most of Europe does it, but we don't. And I think we're the poorer for it. Of course, Northern Ireland, Wales and Scotland, you could say that really is regional government, but I think the regions of England need an equivalent kind of structure in which to hammer out the plans for how to develop their area. What does London know about how the West Midlands should develop? I think it should be up to the people of the West Midlands to decide it. And then also the regions need to keep a bigger slice of the income from the economy of the area. See, that way, if the region benefits by the economy of the local area benefiting, then there's an incentive for the regional government or more local government to do things to attract industry. And I think that if apparently they do it like this in Germany, that more of the benefit of local prosperity stays in the region, and I think that would encourage the regions to develop. It'd be good for the country as a whole. So like that. And then as a slightly separate issue, I don't like cabinet local government. You know, everything about roads being decided by one chap who, in Birmingham case, is a nice fella. But it means that only one politician knows about each particular aspect of local government, and he is advised by his local government officers, but they sort of have to live together, and I think it's a not very healthy relationship. And I think it's much better, and sorry, also further down that line, elected mayors deciding everything. I don't think that's healthy either. I think that just, you know, it's hard enough to get to see the cabinet members. It's going to be even harder to get to see the elected mayor, and I think it will attract personalities and big personalities rather than careful thinking. I think it'll make people feel further away from the seat of decision making. I think I know it can go pear-shaped, but I think the old style of committee government, in principle, should mean that ordinary councillors from, you know, elected from just down the street have actually got a voice in the making of democratically argued decisions, and I think that is the better way forward. Committee government instead of cabinet government or elected mayors for local government of our various cities and other local authority areas. And there's a further thing. In Birmingham, in lots of other places, they have multi-councillor wards, multi-member wards, and I don't think that's healthy. I think it's very confusing to have 3 councillors, and they sort of shelter behind each other. They say they share out the work, but it's not a straightforward relationship like we have at the moment with our MP. I have 1 MP, not 3 MPs, and I think it weakens the relationship between an elector and the elected person if they elect 3 of them for the area. I think it's very muddling, and I'd like to see that straightened out by having single member wards, if necessary having 3 times the number of wards, if there are the jobs for such councillors to do. But you're much more likely then to be electing, considering electing somebody who you actually know, who lives round the corner, as opposed to somebody in a 3-member ward where they're more likely to live a long way away, and in fact actually not even live in the ward at all. I think councillors should have to live in the ward where they're standing for election. So these issues, primarily the regional government issue, I think we should have regional government for England, for the regions of England, and I'd love you to go and see your MP to persuade, to at least to get the MP into discussion about it, because I think that would help the regions of England to thrive in a way that they're not doing at the moment. And if they won't play ball, stand against them at the next election. Thank you.